Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast today. We're here with some very exciting news. We are happy to announce the official merger of Level and WebMechanix. And to help talk about that today, I'm joined by Patrick Patterson, the CEO at Level, Arsham, Mirshah, and Chris Mechanic, co-founders at WebMechanix. So, gentlemen, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Miles. It's
Happy to be here. Really excited to be here, yeah. Let's rock and roll.
So, yeah, absolutely. Let's start and rock and roll with some background. Introduce ourselves to everybody. Patrick, you want to start with a little bit about you and about Level?
Yeah, sure. So, first of all, Arsham, Chris, super excited. Glad we're able to do this morning. So Level, we've been around for about 14 years, and our promise and our goal has always been to be the performance marketing agency we wanted to work with when we were on the client side, right? And then build the company we wanted to work for. What does that mean for work-life balance? What does that mean for, remote work versus in office? And so, as we've expanded, as we've grown, and as we've, done a lot of really, really great things over the past year, it's been how do we find companies? How do we find like-minded companies culturally, not just from an employee culture, but a client culture, right? That care as much about their clients as we do, that care about, performance and results, but also care about people's well-being and how to build a great workplace. And so it's been a really exciting, kind of year and a half of us, talking to a lot of companies. I think Arsham, Chris, I told you I've talked to about 200 agencies up to this point. We've come to the finish line with one that I'm really excited about in WebMechanix. And this will be our second, merger in the past year. We were lucky enough to merge with Becker Media about 8 months ago, that allowed us to really solidify our stance as a top 2 in the performance marketing space for education. And, really, really excited about WebMechanix and what that is going to allow us all to do together. So I know we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But before we do, Chris, Arsham, would love to hear your backstory and how you got to this moment right now.
Yeah, certainly. So our backstory goes back a really, really long way. Arsham and I are actually cousins. Like we grew up together. We've known each other since we were babies, essentially. And we've always been kind of entrepreneurial over the years, but at one point during college, I fell in love with the internet. Like I had a buddy who was like starting websites and, making money with Google AdSense type of a thing. And I just fell in love with that immediately. So I started a couple of niche websites, started building traffic, started, blogging, building an email list. And Arsham studied computer science. He's like bioinformatics major. So he's always been sort of the technical yin to my yang. So he would help me, anytime I had an issue with that site. So long story short, he is then running a startup in college. He's basically like the COO. I was serving tables part-time while I was like building this website empire, during the day. And I got recruited into an agency. And I remember like it was yesterday, the first day I was in that agency role, I was like, this is it. Like, this is what I have to do. I loved it. It was just like so much fun. It just didn't even feel like work. So anyway, spent a year or two at that agency. I was their first digital marketing employee, helped them build out their whole, digital marketing service line. And then the time was right.
This is back in 2007, 8, right? So building out a digital marketing practice in 2007, 8. I mean, that's just for some context, right?
Yeah, that's like inventing fire in front of most people.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Thank you. Exactly, right? Yeah. So Chris is kind of seeing that. Meanwhile, I'm also kind of seeing it with him. We're cousins. Again, we're talking and what have you. And Chris, I keep going with your story. So
yeah. And then so eventually, I got the itch and I was like, Arsham, like we can do this, man. Like let's just go ahead and do this. And I wasn't
it can't be that hard, right?
Yeah, it can't be that hard. But I just loved the business. I still love the business. Like everything about agency life, it's it can be chaotic for sure. It can be stressful for sure. There's a lot of ups and downs, but it's just so much fun. So anyway, I'm belaboring this a little bit, but we started as a pure play SEO company. And these were the days like Google Analytics had just hit the scene, like measurement, things like data driven, which are really table stakes now, didn't exist then. So we were kind of, some of the first people on the scene with this data driven, content first approach. Like nobody was publishing content back then. So we started out, just working with local businesses, and our ambitions weren't actually very grand at that point. Like we just wanted to kind of have a lifestyle business, but it was working. Like the work that we were doing was working. We were getting referrals left and right. And like within 6 months, there was like more business than we could handle. So we just decided like, hey man, let's build this out.
Yeah. We definitely didn't hire a sales team and go, door to door, right? Like we just got a couple clients and we were just doing such good work, I suppose, looking back on it now. But it was easy and fun, right? Because we really enjoyed it. And then we were just lucky enough to get those referrals. And then I had been, like Chris mentioned, in college running a startup. So I knew all of what it took to kind of like stand up a payroll, do the finances, the legal, the HR, all that stuff. So, we brought on some interns at first, trained them up. And this is 2009, so 15 years ago. And the rest is history. It's just been one foot in front of the other, humbly growing and learning for the last 15 years, adding service lines as we realize our customer needs. They don't just want more traffic, they want more leads. They don't just want more leads, they want more sales, right? So you see kind of the evolution over that time. And we've been just super lucky to just, like you said, Patrick, very like-minded, actually care about our employees, our team, actually care about the results that we drive. Very aligned to that. It's been part of Chris and I from the beginning, right? Like you said, lifestyle business, so we care, like this is our name on it kind of thing, right? Chris Mechanic, WebMechanix, right? So we care at our core, and that's a core value, and we look for people like that too.
Patrick, you said you talked to over 200 agencies, an incredible amount. From that, we're down to one with WebMechanix. So I'd love to hear your perspective on what it was about the company, about Arsham and Chris and the rest of the team that led us to this moment here.
Yeah, well, first, it started, I think, with Chris and Arsham actually going out and trying to do, the same thing that Level's doing, which is how do we grow through acquisition, right? So, Chris and Arsham were looking to, and I'll speak for you guys, but looking to do their first or second add-on inside the organization. And, with that, we were using the same company to try to find and source those. And, we had been working with that company for a while. They knew us really well. And, after talking with Arsham and Chris, I got a phone call. It's like, hey, there's this company and they sound a lot like you. Like, it sounds like exactly what you're trying to do. It's really, really organic. They're not looking for it, but maybe you guys should chat. I was like, all right. And I think like kind of the same way on your side, right, guys? Like, it was like, hey, maybe you guys should chat with this Level company. And I think we both kind of came into it with a little bit of skepticism of, hey, like, all right, we're both trying to do this thing. And, for myself, I won't speak for you, but like at the end of that call, I was like, oh, wow, this could be something really special. And I think what I saw on that was, one, like our service overlap, like what we do and what WebMechanix does, it's very, very similar. There have been some decisions we've all had to make around focus over the past 14 years. What do we focus on? And for us, we came in the education space, so we focused a lot of the needs for education and then B2B. And so we developed, a lot of really advanced reporting, data analytics. We have a data science team. WebMechanix, coming from the SEO and the web background, still does the majority, 80% of it is performance marketing. But their supporting services are more around web development and SEO, while still having that data mind and that data background, right? And it's not because we're not a web shop and they're not a data shop. It's just about, hey, what can we focus on in the time that we have? And so what's really exciting is you look at that and you say, okay, now we take all those learnings, like we've been the same company for 14 years, and we put them all together, and it's really, that better together. It's not just growing bigger, it's growing better. And I really think that's what I'm really excited about. So the service overlap is exciting. The industry overlap is really, really exciting. We've both done amazing work to establish ourselves in financial services, B2B technology services, B2B software, B2B professional services as some of the industry leaders, and how to do B2B marketing the right way, which is not easy, right? And so people that can crack that, obviously are thinking about it the right way, thinking about trust, thinking about client first. And then third, it was really, kind of what put it over the edge for me. And probably the most important thing as I'm assessing these is the cultural fit, right? We all are going to have to work with each other afterwards. We are all going to have to, get along. And so the closer we are together as a culture, the easier that's going to be. And, I'm looking for folks that are passionate, that are driven, that want to stay within the organization, that want to grow it, that have a growth mindset, open to change, resilient. Chris and Arsham have done a phenomenal job building an anti-fragile organization. And like, that is really, really exciting, because that takes discipline, and it takes drive, and it takes, day after day doing the work to do it. And, there's been a lot of times in my career where I could have taken the easy way out. I could have done the easy thing for the quick buck. And, I think Chris and Arsham and Level, we've always made the decision to do the thing that's right for the future, right? That's right for the 10-year and the 5-year and the 3-year. So that's really, I think, what set WebMechanix apart from the other 200-300 that we talked to, let alone the 3,000 that we looked at.
Yeah, Patrick nailed it. Stories resonates very well with me. Chris and I, it's been in our 3-year picture to go do strategic M&A. So we were looking to do our own, and when the company said, "Hey, you guys should talk," we were like, we talked to a lot of these. That this is we've seen this story before, but we'll hear it out. Let's just see what it is. But all the things Patrick said, the kind of client overlap, the service overlap, but really the culture overlap. It's almost like we're mirror companies. We started around the same time too. I mean, it's just such an interesting story in that way. And so we're like, okay, this could actually be something.
Yeah, and incredibly synchronistic. And I'm a believer that things happen for a reason, right? But like, here's one of the random coincidences that happened. One of my mentors, I spoke with them like several weeks before the initial conversation. And they were asking me like, hey, what do you think about the future? Like, are you doing any exit planning type of thing? And I'm like, no, like, we're just rocking and rolling. We're having fun. And he's like, let me tell you something, man. If anybody wants to buy your business, like, you need to talk to them. Like take that call. At the very least, you're going to learn something. And I'm like, you realize that I get like 4 emails a day probably of people, trying to buy us or invest or whatnot. And he's like, okay, well, don't take all of them, but like take some that look interesting. So, and then, very shortly thereafter was when that reach out happened, which it was like, we were in the mode of, like Patrick was saying, doing the opposite. So we took the call, very, very hesitantly. I mean, not hesitantly, but very, in a mode where we really weren't expecting doing anything. But then we really clicked. We really hit it off. And I think from a culture perspective, like, one of the things I'm incredibly proud of, we have always treated our clients the way that we want to be treated. Like in 15 years of doing this, never once have we left a client high and dry. Never once have we left an employee high and dry, even a vendor. Like, we've never not paid a bill to a vendor, that kind of thing. Like, we're running an incredibly wholesome business in a industry and in a space that can sometimes be kind of shady or seedy. Like, there's a lot of firms out there that will pull the wool over clients' eyes. but we, like, every dollar that we manage, we think of it like it's our own dollar. And I think that's the reason why clients tend to stay with us for a really long time. They tend to grow right along with us. People the same way, like, I've had a lot of people say, like, wow, you guys have a lot of really long tenure employees there. And that's because we treat them like family. We really do.
I'd love to talk more about that, employees and clients, because all three of you, there's like a key part of your answer there. And, we joked about this the last time we did one of these, Patrick, was the acquisition bingo card. I'll be the first to say 1 + 1 = 3. And that, we're just going to go there. So I'd love to hear from your perspective how that's true. 1 + 1 = 3. We've hinted at it, but main audience for this whole conversation are going to be employees and clients wondering, what does this mean for me? And so I'd love to get your perspectives on what all this makes possible now.
Yeah, so I can start. I mean, I'm incredibly excited to meet like a lot of the Level clients and vice versa, because while there is quite a bit of overlap in the things that we do, there's varying levels of strength. Like, organic search is really core to us. It was our founding service line. Like, I can't wait to do a roadshow and to meet some of the Level clients that could really, really benefit from SEO. And, just teach, share, like we're one of our core values is learnaholic. And part of being a learnaholic is also being a teachaholic. So, like, I plan to put out just like a lot of content and a lot of just good information for free to the clients, because, whether you hire us to do it or not, there's a lot happening in SEO right now, with generative search experience and all these different things. Like, we want to arm our clients with the information to be successful moving forward. So I'm super excited to basically bring some of our gifts to the Level client base, and then vice versa. Like, Level was a really early adopter in the data science, analytics, media mix modeling areas. And those are areas that we're just starting to get into, but really super excited to bring their strength over to some of our clients who really need that type of
that could be
support.
a big unlock for, I can think of more than a handful of clients where that data practice could be quite helpful to help them really understand their attribution and what channels are working and what media mix they need. I think it could be a big unlock for a lot of our clients, and I'm excited about that. I also think it could be quite an unlock for many of our team members as well, who are interested, who are very, they have that kind of data mind, and they just need to go further. And I think they can go further faster, together with some mentorship, let's call it, right? On the WebMechanix side, we have a really strong creative and development team. I think that we can bring those services to the Level client base, where we can build more websites, web experiences that will help conversion rates go up, right? So that's obviously a big added benefit in the performance marketing game.
Yeah, I think the idea that obviously all of those things, the SEO, the data, the web. I think it in general as well, the combined expertise of the group, right? So when you're talking about, now being a 200 person organization, you can afford to do things that you can't do at a 20, 50, 100 person organization. And you can have experts and centers of excellence and subject matter experts that you can afford to pay top dollar to, because that you couldn't prior. And so, just the ability to, be able to leverage that scale for our clients. You have a question about a specific, a Reddit subject matter expert, right? And, or organic social TikTok subject matter expert, or generative search. These are topics that are really, really important to our clients. And then to be able to be at the size and the scale to have expertise, top bleeding edge expertise in these areas is going to be really, really exciting. And obviously for our employees, that creates opportunities for our employees, right? And And everything we just said allows us to grow those teams, those expertise, work with newer clients, expand into different services with our clients, give leadership and opportunities to every single employee at Level and WebMechanix. And so, that is exciting. The thing I say a lot, and digital marketing grows at about 9% every year in the world, right? So every year, 9% growth. That's kind of expectation. If we're doing 9% growth as an organization, we're just keeping up with digital advertising. So we're trying to do more than that, right? So when you do that, if you grow 10, 15, 20% as an organization, that creates new opportunities for every employee to grow 10, 15, 20% every single year. And you just don't get that most places, right? You go to your 9 to 5, I spent 5 years on the client side, right? You don't get 5 years of experience always. Sometimes you just get 1 year of experience 5 times, right? And so I think it's really important that we're going to really exciting that we're going to be continually tackling bigger, badder issues together with really, really smart people. And the thing, one of the things that, is a huge opportunity is I've had a chance to meet the folks at WebMechanix, and man, they are just whip smart, passionate, roll up your sleeves folks. It's, I say that about Pittsburgh, we like to roll up our sleeves here in Pittsburgh. You guys have that culture, and that is going to just unlock so many opportunities for your team and our team to work together. I'm just so excited about it.
Yeah, I love that. Love the centers of excellence, the subject matter experts. I think it's a huge unlock for a lot of people. And then we used to say, Patrick, a year at WebMechanix is like 3 years anywhere else. And I still think that's true, right? I mean, part of that's just agency life. Part of it is just the way that our culture is. We love helping people. I meet every single new employee about 3 weeks to 4 weeks into their role. And every one of them, without fail, I try not to use absolutes, but literally every one of them is like, wow, the team here is so helpful. They actually care. They actually want me, they want me to succeed in my role. Everyone's been so helpful. So I think, Level having a similar culture, I think we can just all thrive together, right? And that 1 year being 3 years of experience will be true, continue to be true.
Yeah, and Miles, I love fire. I'm a huge fan of fire, and I often make the analogy that hey, let's have a bonfire. You bring your wood pile, I'll bring my wood pile, and you can make a much, much hotter fire that way. So in that way, it's probably more than one. It's probably more than 1 + 1 = 3. It's probably more like 1 + 1 = 4. If you just want to talk about the heat output from a really big fire versus a kind of a small fire.
There you go.
I love this. We're quantifying how we're coming together now. I love it. Using data.
Fire analogies. Let's go.
20% Kagers, baby. Look at that. That's the mantra.
Nice. Love it.
I'll lean into Chris's fire metaphor here, right? You don't get a bonfire right away, right? You got to add the wood over time and grow it from, tinder kindling and then the fuel. It's going to be the same thing with the merging of the two companies, right? It's not going to be instant bonfire. There's some steps we have to take to make sure that we have that sustained heat that we were talking about. So what are those steps? What steps are being taken to ensure that this is a smooth process for employees and for clients?
Yeah.
Lighter fuel. No, I'm just kidding.
So, there's a few things. The first is we have kind of some design principles, right? So what are our rules that we're looking at? And we do this with any large project. We sit down and we say, what are the design principles for that project? One is we want to make sure that we're employee first. So every decision that we're making, every time we make a change, we're employee first. That means how are we taking care of our employees and thinking about it through the eyes of our employees? 1B to that is client first. So every decision we make about how we integrate as an organization is going to be, does it benefit our client, right? do they get something out of that integration, or is it just, same old, same old? And so those are going to be our first two design principles. The third is going to be, where can we find opportunities for scale? And, where can we find opportunities to have teams work together that are really going to benefit from it? We think there's some opportunities right now in some back-end stuff. So how do we, get our people operations and our financial operations together in a way that allows us to do invoicing better and hiring better and all of those things better. But again, the combination of the two companies is going to be about employee first, client first, and then how do we do it better? So it may take a few moments to do that. It may take a week, a month, 6 months, a year for those things to happen. But that's okay as long as we're following those design principles, because then we're doing what's important. We're taking care of our people, we're taking care of our clients, and we're making improvement every single day, which, spoiler alert, is what both companies have been doing for 14 years plus, right? And so it will be no different than what we've always done. We'll just get to do it together around a whole bunch of smart, passionate, good people and solve some really, really big problems.
I love this design principle, Patrick. You're converting me over to that, but it really does make sense. I mean, if you actually kind of peel the onion back, that's what we've been doing, right? Like every decision that I've made has been, what will the team think? How will it impact them? What will the clients think, or how will it impact them? And it has to, the decision making is made easy when you have those design principles, right? It just has to be better for both of those constituents at the end of the day. That's it. So that's when we have been kind of putting together the integration plan and FAQs for the team and things like that. It's very evident, right? It's like, hey, we want to make this as seamless, easy as possible, and that's what it's been, and that's what we are going to continue to do.
And that's been one of the big selling points for me, right? Because everyone's heard horror stories about like, hey, you get acquired and then everything changes. But these principles, like Patrick's not just saying for the podcast, we've been talking about that since the beginning. And that's why like I'm super duper excited, even more so, because I can look every single team member and every single client right in the eye and be like, guys, nothing is going to change. Like, you're going to have the same team. You're going to, like, we're still here. And so I'm really excited about this plan of like, people first, clients first, do no harm, and then integrate like where the synergies live.
It's like stack ranking, Chris, right? Like when we do like, conversion rate optimization, there's like, 10, 20, 30 ideas of what you're going to test. Right. And so you stack rank them and you go after the ones that, the lowest lift with the biggest impact.
There you go.
Yep.
Right. Like Eisenhower matrix. So we use Eisenhower matrix every day. Right. So what's going to have the greatest lift for the lowest amount of work, right? Lowest amount of effort.
And we may add to this, like, least amount of kind of feathers ruffled, right? On client or
that's
employee
effort
side,
as well, right? So,
it's effort, sure.
So this is our second merger, and I think Chris, the thing that I'll say is, we do want to make sure that people know, hey, the quality of what you have experienced will not change, right? It should only improve. However, if we look back at our history, we look back at everything we've done, we have made pivots, we have made changes inside the organization when we've needed to, right? And I think in general, making sure that, our clients know and our employees know, hey, like, yeah, there are going to be changes because that's what we've always done. But, the quality of what you've come to expect should not change, right? But, who your manager is or, those types of things may over time change because that's how organizations work. And so, I think like as long as we're looking at this and saying, are we doing best by our clients? Are we doing best by our employees? The change will make sense. It will be logical, right? I love I love when, these emotional decisions go down to logic. And when you can get there, it's easy, right? And you're looking at it and you're saying, yeah, this makes all the sense in the world. Why wouldn't I do it? And that's going to be exciting.
No doubt.
Yeah,
that definitely happens every day here, just within WebMechanix.
Yeah, I mean, change happens here.
Literally the only constant, right?
Yeah, right.
Literally the only constant.
Yeah.
And like if I think back to how our team makes decisions, like, yeah, sure, there's some emotion in it, but then it does come down to logic, and it comes down to the design principles. And that's why I'm loving this design principle so much, because it's like we've been living it, we just never kind of wrote it down, right?
Yeah, if you love frameworks, you'll love me.
We do like frameworks. We will like you for that. Yeah,
we're gonna have to clip that section out just for you, Patrick.
Right.
That'll be a nice little repeatable video.
That'll be the quote of the show.
Everyone.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Speaking of change, curious to hear some of y'all's predictions. This event, how do we think it's going to change things in the industry? Like, what's going to be the stamp that we make as Level Plus WebMechanix when the bonfire does start raging? Chris, what do you think is going to be made possible? How we'll approach it?
So I think we're going to be marketing powerhouses. We, for a long time, WebMechanix was that agency where it was like the cobbler's kids, right? Like our own marketing was the last thing on our mind. Over the last 18 months, we've gotten really serious about it. We've invested in, people as well as media, content, and these different things. And it's really starting to snowball and have a snowballing effect. And that's the perfect example of 1 + 1 = 3, because like in this coupling, like we'll have that much more firepower to create that much more and better content. So I can foresee that, like we're already pretty dominant forces, like both in EDU and B2B and FinServe. I think that, we're going to be louder, right? You could put it like that. You're going to hear a lot more from us. And with the combined powers in research, innovation, test and learn, we're not just going to be like spouting BS content from ChatGPT, right? Like we're going to be publishing like bleeding edge thought leadership type content that other agencies are reading and regurgitating.
Yeah, I think we do a lot. Sorry, Patrick. We do a lot of awesome stuff within our walls. I'm sure Level does as well. And so what Chris is talking about is like taking that amazing stuff that we're doing, all the stuff that we're testing, learning from, and then being able to have the resources to package it up to then share it with the world at large. A lot of that being prospective clients and prospective employees, to show them, look at the cool stuff that we're doing. Come join us so that you can push this envelope forward as well. I think that's a good stamp. Another one, I think that like in our combined kind of client verticals, so to speak, they're all there's more similar. Like if you think about education or B2B or financial services, like those sound like 3 completely different verticals, and sure they are. But at the end of the day, there's a lot more overlap and a lot more that's the same that's not. For instance, they're all very highly considered purchases, right? A lot of times there is multiple personas that you need to, convince. So I think taking our, design principles now, performance marketing principles across the company and training our team across, verticals and across skill sets, I think is going to make us just drive, never before seen results for clients.
Yeah. I see kind of 3 and only 3 reasons why you would ever work with an agency. But one of the core reasons is, we're platform agnostic. So, versus Google, where everything is a you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail when you're Google, right? The solution is spend more on Google. We're platform agnostic. So we grab all of those learnings across all of the platforms. And so this will allow us to grab more of those learnings and make sure that we're passing those learnings on to our clients. The other reason is we work with many clients, as Arsham said, across many industries. So we can take learnings from this industry and apply it to this industry, which has actually really, like, we took some of our best practices for e-commerce and brought them into education and saw, we were doing some of the first, UGC in EDU a while back, and it took off like wildfire, right? And then the third reason is we have resources on staff that you can never have on a client side, because you could never afford to just have a specialized person for that. So when you take this, we work with all the platforms, we work across multiple industries, and we have resources. It creates this matrix and this cube that allows us to really have these specific case studies that are going to solve specific problems for you, right? And so what Chris and Arsham are talking about is how we're going to be able to share those with our clients, our prospective clients, even our employees, to get them trained, and that is really exciting. The thing, like, on the side, as also a developer and a product guy, I'm excited about, and how I think we're going to be able to differentiate ourselves even further is, this idea of being an AI-enabled organization, an AI-first, performance marketing company. We used to be a data-first marketing company, or a technology-first performance marketing company, and we've always used AI as soon as it's been available. Machine learning, all of the different predictive modeling I've been using it for 20 years, right? But I think it's going to be important to showcase that to our clients and have that scale and that ability to really innovate quickly, test, learn, grow with our clients, and show those efficiency gains across everything we do, from, bid optimization, campaign management, campaign building, but also like project management and account management. How do we spend fewer hours, organizing the work and more time doing the work, right? And so, that's the other thing. We haven't really chatted about it, but we're very like-minded as organizations on how we can, really let those robots do the robot work and let the humans do the human work, and become that AI-enabled, kind of cyborg performance marketing agency.
Love that.
I love that too. Yeah. And so AI is developing obviously really, really fast. We have clients of two types. Some are, very sort of future forward and on the cutting edge, but the vast majority are not. And so, like, my mental framework is like the market, so to speak, can't progress as quickly as the tech. And that's where I think we come in, is basically to hold our clients' hands and be like, let's accelerate you up this curve. We have some financial service clients who literally aren't allowed to use AI. Like, a mere mention of the word AI in an email, throws up red flags. So there's a broad spectrum, and it's happening so quickly that, like, clients need somebody to kind of
to shepherd them, right?
Yeah, to shepherd them.
Yeah. So we work in regulated spaces. Education and financial services are regulated spaces. It's difficult when, healthcare, similar. Healthcare will have the greatest and has had the greatest impact through AI of any other organization, one of the most regulated spaces in the world, right? And so it's not about, and for me, I have this conversation a lot. It's not about, how do we sneak AI in to what we're doing. It's how do we utilize the tools in a regulated environment to unlock, these superpowers that we can unlock, but still feel really confident, 100% confident, right? That it is fully compliant and fully within the regs. And actually what I've found is, in a regulated environment, it's actually a lot easier to use AI, because what regulations are? They're rules. And you know what AI loves? Rules, right? And so it's actually a lot easier. And this is something that a lot of people don't think about. It's actually a lot easier to use AI in regulated spaces, because you can just say, here are all the rules, make sure you follow them. right? And in B2B, there are no rules. You can do whatever you want. And so you have to create the rules. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for education, as Chris said earlier in the talk here. I think there's a lot of opportunity for education for all of our clients and saying, hey, this is what we can do. And I think once people really understand, what it is and what it isn't, I do a talk on this all over the world, a talk about AI. Part of it is myth busting, right? There's a lot of myths. And so, I think once people understand what it is and what it isn't, we're going to have a lot of adoption. We want to be ready, and we want to be, as Chris said, shepherding our clients towards that future. And so it's going to be a huge opportunity for all of us. And that's, you guys have a great technology stack, a great set of technologists inside your organization. And so being able to combine that with our product and our data and our technology here, it's gonna really allow us to accelerate and really put that wood into that bonfire of technology innovation.
Nice. We're both building our own, AI kind of enablement products, right, in our own orgs. So bring that wood together.
That's right.
Burn a bigger fire.
I want s'mores after this conversation. I'll just talk about that. So as we move to wrap up our conversation today, love to give each of you the mic to share some final thoughts. And we want to make sure the key takeaway here is for our employees and for the clients watching.
Yeah, I think, for me, the moments that kind of define careers, you don't really know that you're in them when you're in them, right? And they're usually difficult moments or moments of change or moments of resilience. And, anytime, you're talking about something like this is a transformational acquisition and merger for both organizations. And so, this is a moment where there's going to be opportunity for people to step up and opportunity for careers to be changed for the better across the entire organization. I think it's just really important to take a step back and understand what moment you're in right now. And sometimes you get through all of that and you don't even realize you were there. So it's not just a moment of opportunity, but appreciation and saying, hey, this is a really exciting thing. This is a moment that doesn't happen too often in anyone's careers. So take a moment to be appreciative, to understand where you are, and also kind of thank those around you that were really critical to that. On the Level side, we have done a lot of work, to make sure that this is the right mode for us. We've worked with a lot of team. Our financial backers at Dubin Clark, and a lot of lawyers, a lot of accountants, but also an internal team where it's kind of their second job to now go in and talk to Chris and Arsham and the team to make sure that we understand what the business is. So I just like to thank everyone who did that, and then I pass it over to Chris and Arsham, but also just want to thank both of you. I know you both have young kids. You both have gone through a lot. This wasn't on your roadmap. This is a second job. I've been there. I know what it is. So, I've said to both of you that you have gone through this process with grace, with benefit of the doubt, with positive attitudes. That's not easy to do. So thank you both. And I'm sure you guys have a host of people you want to talk about.
Yeah, thanks, Patrick. That's definitely resonates. I'm very just grateful to our team. Chris mentioned earlier, we have lots of highly tenured people. So no way we would get to this kind of milestone, this moment, without them. Very grateful for them and the positive attitudes and the resilience to change, and the hard work that they put in and day out. I think when you talk about opportunities, to capture opportunities and grow, I'm excited to see our team grow into this opportunity and capture some of that, because it's definitely going to be there. And I know from the past that they can do that. So excited to see that happen. Very grateful to our clients, right? We've had some very long tenured clients. We're in kind of the win-win quadrant with them. And so everyone's winning, and that's great. That's how it should be always. Our community, our vendors, right? Like my family to allow me to do a podcast at this hour, right? But yeah, really excited for, you're right. Like this is definitely career moment. So take a step back, appreciate it. I'm excited to learn and grow myself, right? So grateful to all of the things in the past that have gotten us here, but also grateful to, you, Patrick, you've been a good shepherd through this process. Duke and Clark for making this possible and happen. And I think that, future is just really bright. So put on your shades.
Love it. Put on your shades. Grab some firewood. We want you to participate in the party. No, but I echo everything Sham said. I'm just like deeply grateful from the bottom of my heart for clients, many, many clients who have supported us and stuck with us year in, year out. Same with the team, and so gratitude and excitement. This is a moment, like what Patrick was saying. This is definitely a moment. There's opportunities for everybody there for the taking. So let's get out and get it. You ain't seen nothing yet, baby.
Let's do it. Hell yeah.
All right. That's a great note to end on. So thank the three of you for your time recording all this, and looking forward to more conversations like this in the future.